Okay, I'm going to call to order of the Middle School Building Committee at 7:30 a.m. on July 18th. First order of business is approval of the meeting minutes from.
You need to call roll, Pat.
Oh, pardon me. I need to call roll. Thank you, dear.
No, you're
Okay.
welcome. Teamwork.
Alexa Anderson? No.
She said she'd be here, so maybe she's running late.
Okay.
Yeah, she just got back into town late last night, I think.
Okay. Okay. We'll circle back. Heather?
Good morning.
Peter Pashalis?
Present.
Don Gorelio?
Present.
Andrew Herchuk is not here. Tim Holt is not here. Lori Hunter,
Present.
Mark Howell,
Present.
I'm here. Chris Popov,
Present.
Charlie Parker,
Present.
Matt Root,
Good morning.
and Steven Stashewski.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Dawn, it's Alexa. I'm present.
Oh, Alexa, you're here. Great.
Yep, I am.
Alexa.
Okay. All
And
right.
just so you, Tim Sim, or Tim, I was thinking Tim Holt. Eric Sims just sent an email this morning saying he was not, apologies, he won't be here. So
Yeah.
just to let you know.
Yeah. Okay, so the minutes from the June 20th meeting. I had one change I would like to see made. In the minutes, it says that we did not have the, let's see. It's regarding the naming of the school, that I said that we didn't have the ability to name the school, and I think the word I used was purview. And I think that better reflects the responsibility of the committee, not its abilities. So, no,
Jurisdiction is probably the right word.
were there any other corrections to the minutes that anyone wanted to discuss?
Yes. The
Okay.
next paragraph, it says in May, project expenditures, which consisted of Hill, SMMA, and FINA invoices were 5 million. I think we should include CTA as one of those invoices.
Okay.
Did you get that, Ian?
Yes.
Jonathan? Okay. Okay. Lori, your hand is up.
Sorry, no. No, my hand
Oh,
isn't
your
up.
hand
Pat.
isn't up. My
Yeah.
my screen was on your square. Okay. I'll have another sip of my coffee and we'll be rolling right along. Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of June 20th?
Motion to approve, Pat.
Pardon me?
Motion to approve, meaning meeting
Second?
minutes, June 20th.
Seconded, Pat.
Okay. Do we need to do a roll for this?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All righty. Alexa,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Dawn,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
me, yes. Chris Popov,
Yes.
Charlie Parker,
Yes.
Matt Root,
Yes.
and Steven Stashewski.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Do we have a correspondence update, communication update?
Well, we have an update, but not too much to report. We had no new emails. And there's really no new communications update other than a construction report went out the other day. Hopefully everybody saw it, but I think that's it.
Thought the pictures were great.
Yeah, it's fun to see all the pictures. It's fun to
It
share.
really
them.
is.
It really tells a good story.
Yeah, it sure does. Sure does. Okay, OPM update?
All right, thank you, Pat. So we've got quite a bit of ground to cover today, but I'll jump right in. So we're going to go through the financial update. We have a few change orders to review. They were approved by the TRC already, but just bringing it to this committee for information. We've got the technology bids and proposals, as well as the FF&E bids and proposals in to review with you guys, and then the construction progress report. So I will start with the budget. So this is the budget summary sheet. I think the updates this period would be the inclusion of the change orders that we'll be reviewing today in the change order column, which brings down the forecasted costs. The expenditures on the construction side are updated per the June requisition. And same for any other expenditures for architect, OPM, various consultants. Let's see here. On the commitment side, I am showing the commitments for FF&E and technology here that we'll go over today, and then just bottom line numbers. We've got 102.2 million in committed costs to date. We've got 9.2 remaining in contingency, including the bid savings and bid contingencies. Our expenditures are at 61.5 million, and we've got a balance of 49.9. So that's the budget summary. We've got the cash flow here through June. So we've trued up everything. Sorry, this is through July. So we've trued up everything through June, and then are projecting forward with cash flow. So this is reflecting the 61.5 million spent to date, and then projecting out the remaining construction costs and all the various costs for soft costs as well as contingency. The 4.2 is all the bid savings that we have in that bucket, and just projecting everything out through the total project cost of 111.5 million. So that's the cash flow and the graph as well. And I'll move on to the contingency usage chart. So we've got hard cost contingency on the top, soft cost contingency on the bottom. Budget was 4.5. We've used a little over $1 million at this point, which is 23%. We're forecasting the 378 based on pending PCOs that are in the queue. And so we have about 69% remaining in hard cost contingency, which is good for where we're at in the process of construction. Soft cost contingency, we had a budget of 877. What we use so far is 30%. And that includes the uptick in the FF&E budget that we went over a couple weeks ago. So we've got 70% remaining at this point. Don?
Quick question. It looks like we have about 70% remaining in both. What percent construction complete are we? You may be getting to that with schedule, but just out of curiosity.
I don't have the exact number. I think it's over 50%.
It's about 60% currently.
60. There we go.
Okay, so we have about 40% left. All right, just curious, because sometimes percentages and where we are versus what we've got left are pretty good, but you know, to compare against. But a lot of the unknowns are behind us as far as getting out of the ground and some of those things. But okay, I like the graph, so thank you.
Ian, could I chime in for a second on that?
Sure.
Yeah, so we've been plotting the typical S curve for contractors' billings. They've got $75 million to put in place to get the kids in the school. And the rest of it is phase 2, which is the demolition in the site. So the curve at the end gets a little funny where the typical S curve for construction ends, and then it kind of starts again on the, you can see a little hitch in it at the top there. This chart you're looking at now is the entire project cost, including AE, OPM, et cetera, et cetera. So we did one specifically for CTA's work, assuming that they were going to be done when we want them to be done, and they were almost right on the dollar. It was kind of amazing. Their bill that plotted right on it. So anyway, it just gives you a good feel for where they're at and what their projections were. Is how we plotted the S curve, and they're right on the money. And this is on a basis where it gets inspected every single month. We're looking at exactly what goes in. We know what's on the site, so our analysis shows that they're where they should be, at least to now.
And just to clarify, through the June requisition, they're at 63%.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. So TRC update, just tracking commitments and budget adjustments and payments on a monthly basis here. So new commitments are change orders 14, 15, and 16 for CTA with these values here. The technology package and the FF&E package are new commitments as well, and we'll get into the details later. And new budget adjustments from the previous period, just moving money up from hard cost contingency to cover the 3 change orders from CTA. We didn't need to move any money for FF&E or technology because we had an appropriate budget for each one of those. And then these are just the invoices from the previous period. So we've got FINA, who does our materials testing on site, SMMA, AKF is our commissioning agent, Multivista is our camera service, Hills invoices for 2 months, and CTA's invoices as well, including their change order invoices. So a little over $5 million in invoicing since the last time we met. Any other questions on the financial update? Nope. Okay. Moving on. So this is just diving in a little deeper to the change orders here. So this is change order 14. Let me get these in order. Yeah, 14, 15, 16. So Jen, do you mind talking through some of these?
Yep, I can
changes?
run through high level what each of these change orders is. So change order 14 was a whopping $1,845. But it was related to just some additional ceiling trim that we needed to add at the windows where the ceilings are slightly lower than the window height. So just providing that trim to cover some gap. It's more of an aesthetic thing, but it was minor change. So that was change order 14.
Yep.
Moving to change order 15. This was proposed traffic signage revisions. So this was revisions along Old Marlborough Road for traffic signage, which had not been included in the original documents. work that needed to be completed. If you know Old Marlborough Road, there's a speed beacon along that road in front of the school. It's actually, right now, it's located exactly where one of the entrances into the new school will be. So really a need to relocate it. But we also took a comprehensive look along Old Marlborough Road for additional signage that may need to be adjusted or added. And this was all reviewed with the town, various town departments, the police department, fire department. So we're all on board with these changes. CMLP had, or actually I think it was the police department, excuse me, had also requested that this speed beacon, which currently I think is solar powered, they requested some line electrical to that as well, just for a little bit more reliability for that. So that was added and included in this price. So that's the $47,954.48.
Yep.
Any questions on this one before we move on to not seeing any change order 16? Just a couple changes. One of them related to some additional electrical coordination. We have several underground tanks related to the sewer system, septic system. It says sewer, but it's really you have a septic system. So reviewing the final shop drawings, there was a bit of coordination and revisions that needed to happen to make sure we had appropriate disconnect switches and power to several of the pumps and components to that underground system. So that was $41,375.04.
Yep.
And then the last PCO was related to some switchboard, some electrical and site work revisions required for just coordinating with CMLP, given their schedules and quite aligning with the school project. The original design was to sort of run everything to their exterior pad mounted switchboard and then into the school, and just the timing of their switchboard not going to be installed before our project sort of is complete. We made some revisions out to that pad mounted equipment, some underground electrical. CMLP is providing some underground structures. We're just installing them. So we were able to work with them to come up with a design so that we can ensure that we have permanent power to the building in time. So that was the $18,601.25. And those are the 3 change orders we have this week or this month.
Thank you. Into the next order of business here, we have the recommendation for technology award. So we've all been working diligently over the past several months to finalize bid packages, documents in order to fully scope out all the technology and FF&E. We got to the point where we could solicit proposals. So we had some help from our technology consultant 3SI and soliciting those proposals from state bid list for the technology scope in particular. And we've reviewed and vetted all of those and are recommending award to the various vendors at the various amounts here for all the technology infrastructure. So the bids came in favorable, proposals came in favorable at $1,051,035.93, which is around $208,000 under budget, which is great. And so this is what we're recommending to the committee for award, which will allow for Gail and others to proceed with the purchase orders to the various vendors and get them under contract to start procuring materials. So, and then this is all the backup for that. And that was prepared by 3SI. That gives you a detailed breakdown of all all the numbers here and exactly what we're buying from a technology scope perspective. So.
And
So,
that's
yep.
very nice to be saving some money on this. And I'm sure you guys have a process for your due diligence when you're vetting these. Can you just give like a 25 words or less sort of what you guys go through to make sure that the product, what we're gonna get is gonna sustain and be what we need? Is that a legitimate question?
Sure. I'm probably gonna defer that question to someone else on the team, either maybe Jonathan or Jen, just to kind of talk through. They were more intimate with the process and just vetting particular pieces of equipment. So
Yeah, I
So-
can, I
Oh,
can
sorry.
give, no, go ahead, Jonathan. Take a stab at
Basically,
it.
the process is we work very closely with the technology consultant for ESI that works for SMMA, as well as the school's IT department to define the equipment required that that the school is exactly looking for, to get detailed proposals from all these different vendors, to confirm scope, make sure they're on state bid lists, and really just meetings with the group until we get to the final 3SI document that you see attached here. And we basically are combining so that, for instance, CDWG, they've got a few different categories that they're going to be providing parts and materials for. So we're able to combine them so that they have one purchase order for all of those items.
I think, Pat, it might make sense to share. We've met at least 10 times, I think, with the school IT folks and the sub vendor and SMMA and Hill. Everything here aligns with all the systems we have in all of the other buildings, which was really, really important. I think that's part of the cost savings, honestly, because my team knows their materials and needs so well and so specifically, that we were able to really shave this to exactly what we need. So it's been very well vetted. Not that I could contribute to all the very highly technical discussions, but I could listen into the level of detail for sure. So
Great.
great
Thank you.
question, because we don't want to save money at a pain point later. So.
Right. And it's wonderful to hear that it aligns with the technology in the other schools. It's great.
Mhm.
All right.
Great. So we would be looking for the committee to accept this recommendation today through an affirmative vote.
Do you want to take that vote now, or do you want to do it with the FF&E?
Either way is perfectly fine. So you want to review FF&E?
My bet is that we could do them both together.
Yep. Perfect. So similar scenario here with FF&E. A little different process. Portion of this was put out as an invitation to bid. So we did have some of the scope coming in as sealed bids on July 1st. That was a public bid process for furniture, and then we worked closely with Stafura, who's SMMA's FF&E consultant, and they, this is their bread and butter. They do this day in and day out, so they packaged this accordingly so that we could do some in public procurement and other scope through the Massachusetts Higher Education Consortium, the MHEC. And so what that allows you to do is solicit proposals from vendors for other specific scope for furniture and equipment and that sort of thing. So we have a combination of both, and we've listed that purchasing approach here in this column. So we've got all the various vendors, the procurement type, and then all the types of equipment or furniture that will be purchased through this. So where we landed here with all the FF&E, we're at 1,527,705.39, which is just a shade under what our budget was. So we were really working hard as a team to try and maintain that budget that we reviewed with you guys a couple weeks ago, and we were able to accomplish that, which is great. And so this is just a summary of all the furniture and equipment that we'll be purchasing through this. We are recommending a not to exceed value for this. I think the area in particular that we're trying to refine a little better is the custodial equipment. We just wanted to have some ability to refine that scope a little bit before we make it in a purchase order for that particular vendor. But otherwise, these numbers will all stand here for the other vendor. So and then this is all the backup for it as well, just to see some of the various buckets. And it's just a different way to present the public bids and how many of those we packaged up, how this went out, as well as the MHEC proposals that we received. So, and then page 2 of this is just putting some thought into what if scenarios, if we have to hold furniture for any reason, what those charges would be if they were to have to hold furniture longer than what was anticipated. So we wanted to have that pricing as alternates in that type of scenario. Hopefully we don't have to use any of this holding costs, but if we did have to tap into that, it would be utilizing probably the overrun for the FF&E the technology budget. So
yeah, just a quick question. With any of the bid responses, are there any concerns with supply chain or delivery time on any of these things?
Not that we've been told, but we can certainly confirm.
Yeah, I don't think we've heard anything about concerns of timelines in which we're trying to get materials to the site for the equipment or furniture.
Okay, good to know.
Yep.
Pat, can I just add a comment
Sure.
or two?
Yeah.
So we feel great bringing to you under budget and technology and on budget after you approve some contingency for FF&E. I do just need to remind the committee, there are 2 pretty big buckets that are not funded that I hope we can talk on later. Music, as you all remember, we trimmed that, and the department has shared in the trimming, we cut instruments and we cut the risers. The departments shared their priority are the risers, expecting they might have other options for the instruments. I think that's about 40,000. And then another really big issue that's not funded in the project right now are copy machines. So that I would love to consider at some point so that we're not having to figure that out of other school funds. It's a pretty significant need for sure.
Thanks, Lori. Do you have any sense of like a dollar amount for the amount of copy machines it would make?
Yeah, don't hold me to this, but we've been ballparking 5 machines that I would guess are about 15,000 each.
Mhm.
So.
Thank you. Any other questions before we ask for? Well, do I have a motion to approve these 2 proposals.
Sure, I'll move to approve both.
Second.
Okay. Any more discussion? All right, Alexa,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Peter Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Dawn,
Yes.
Lori Hunter,
Yes.
Mark Howell.
Yes.
I'm yes, Chris Popov,
Yes.
Charlie Parker,
Yes.
Matt Root,
Yes.
and Steven Stashewski.
Yes.
Great. Good work.
All right, thank you very much. Last but not least, the construction update. So making good progress on site. A lot of trades, a lot of manpower on site these days. Building C is looking more and more complete. We're starting to get into some of the finish phases in building C. So we've got a good portion of the trades in the 90% completion range there. The window install is done, the roofing is done. And we're starting to see, finishes such as tile and painting happening in this space. We've got ceiling grids going in. They're about 50% complete. We've got other glass infill happening at the elevators and bridge. So it's really starting to button up the building and working towards more of the finished trades in that space. Humidity and temperature control is something that CTA is thinking about and working on as we move into that phase, because that some of those trades are it's necessary to have certain conditions for flooring and other trades to proceed at that point, but we're getting close. So building B, we've got all the spray applied fireproofing is done. We're 95% complete with masonry. The roofing's substantially complete. The interior framing is progressing nicely, as far as in the auditorium area and some of the other classroom spaces in building B. And electrical rough and HVAC and plumbing rough are about 50% complete. The bridge, the curtain wall is 75% complete. They just have a top portion of the glass on the back side of the bridge to be installed at this point. Building A, we've got all the exterior framing substantially complete. All the spray on fireproofing is done. So we're in really good shape for spray on fireproofing. And at this point, that trade is pretty much done on site. And we've got roofing at 90% complete. So things are continuing to progress on the interior of the building as well as the exterior. For site work, we've got quite a bit of activity this summer with CC Construction, who's the site work contractor. They're putting in a number of conduit runs for the PV arrays, for the lighting on site, as well as security cameras that are going to be in the parking areas and lighting over to the new fields for phase 2. So they've also started curbing install as well, and they have about 600 linear feet of curbing in place. We have National Grid on site. They have started the gas service installation to the building, which is great to have them on site and working on that. And then we wanted to just highlight, maybe we can do this at the end, I'll brush on it now, but we've got two critical scope items that we need to push through. They're schedule critical. One being the the need to add some light poles for lights and security cameras in the parking area. And this is going to be in lieu of the PV array, the columns, just from a timing standpoint, with coordination with CMLP. We understand that those are not going to be in place. So we need to have lights, we need to have cameras day one when the school opens. So we need to kind of put a plan B in place. And we need to get this to CTA so that they own this scope, because they're clearly working on conduits and whatnot in the parking area. So we want to get that out quickly to them. And then same with another change to the building, just extending a slab edge. There was an RFI that was issued by CTA that SMMA has responded to, and in response, there's some scope that needs to be modified in a portion of the building. So just some critical scope that we needed to add to the job and get CTA moving on in the near future. So site photographs, we've got building C sunshades, so you can see some of the sunshades in place, basically all along the south facade of building C. And this is an up close view of that. So we're just working with CTA to you know, kind of punch the installation of those sunshades. We've got tile in the bathrooms now that started up, so you can start to see some of the finish work that I was talking about. And this is the parking lot curbing. So material on site, starting to lay out the curb on site. It's really one of the first things to establish some of the boundaries of driveways and parking areas and that sort of thing. So getting some of the parking and driveways done. Here's a photo of just more of the glass going in place, and this was an in progress shot. All the glass on the elevator is now installed. The glass on the bridge is installed on the front side, and half of it's installed on the back side. So they're continuing to work through that and completely closing the building. This is a shot of the building A south facade. So a lot of brickwork has happened back there along that facade to kind of button up the backside of the building. And then the last shot here is just showing you some of the interior framing that's happened in buildings B and A, the auditorium space here. So they're framing this up around the perimeter and kind of seeing some of those spaces take shape a little more. So that is the construction update. Charlie?
Just wondering who is examining the air sealing of those windows with the exterior covering.
Yep. So there's, you know, the architectural team does weekly inspections of the job site, and you know, they identify anything that they see as issues or deficiencies along the way, and that would be for any portion of the work. Speaking directly to the windows, we do have window testing that's being set up, I think, for the week of the 22nd. So 22nd, 23rd, 24th is what we're targeting. So next week we'll start doing some of the window testing, and FINA is the one performing that testing. We'll have the commissioning agent there to be present and review some of the testing that's happening, and just to make sure that there's no leaking on the windows, like you said. So,
and you'll be able to take corrective action because it'll still be open sufficiently to fix any leakage.
Yep. yeah, any correction action that's needed, they'll be able to do that. If it needs to be invasive, then so be it. You know, they'll have to, you know, if there are finishes that are impeding, you know, some of the sealant work from the inside, then they would have to take some of that out, fix it, and then put it back in place. So hopefully we don't get to that point, but if we do, then, you know, that's just what they need to do. So,
Thank you.
yep.
Ian, if I could just add one thing as well.
Sure.
Just in addition to that, we also, per spec, we also have Air Barriers Association of America. They come out and do inspections. They've already done 2 thorough inspections. They issue reports. SGH, who's also our building enclosure commissioning agent, has done site visits. They issue reports with any issues that they find. So in addition to that, we have that extra level of sort of inspection and reporting on the air barrier itself.
Right. Matt,
Thanks for that. Thanks, Jen. Just a request if you could share any of those reports. We received some of the earlier commissioning reports. I forget when the last one was. I don't know if there have been any issued since you shared that last one. But thank you for those.
Yeah, we'll definitely get those over to you.
Now, will you have some composite number of the building's entire air infiltration performance?
Yes, we actually just had a meeting with SGH, who will be performing that whole building air barrier testing. That won't be done until the building sort of considered airtight, probably not till later at the end towards the end of this year. But we reviewed what the requirements are going to be for the contractor to have to prepare the building for that testing to happen, which will be sort of over a 2-day period. But that will give us that quantitative value of what what the air infiltration is through the whole overall building air barrier. We do have a requirement in the spec. It's 0.1, which is pretty airtight is the requirement, and we've been reviewing that with the contractor. They're all aware at all the pre-construction meetings. We've reviewed that, so they understand the level of airtightness that we're looking for here.
I think Matt and I would concur that air infiltration is the biggie in all the sustainability stuff that has been discussed so far. So that's good.
Yep.
Gail, do we want to review more detail related to these construction change directives? Just to, this is something that the TRC reviewed and has accepted at this point, but just to get more details to the committee.
The TRC did review and approve both of these.
yeah, I cannot hear you.
Hold on.
We could hear you. It was just very soft.
My microphone. Is that any better?
Only right at the very end. Can you do more of whatever you just did?
Is that any better?
There you go.
Perfect.
That's better.
So TRC did review both of these on Tuesday. They have both been issued to CTA. They were issued to them yesterday. I think, Jen, I don't know if you have the diagrams readily available. I think the one of most interest to the group would be the parking lot hold. And again, the goal was to ensure that we had adequate lights and security cameras in the parking lot for substantial completion. So a good amount of time was spent with the design team, with Hill. We also worked closely with us internally, Dr. Hunter, myself. We had the technology folks involved as well to make sure that what we had designed out had adequate coverage in all the parking areas. We are also sharing this with our planning department, just because it is a deviation from the plans that were submitted when we obtained all of our permits. So we have shared that with them as well, more so informational so that they know changes have been made. I know this is a little bit busy, Jen. I don't know if there are specifics that we can go over, but I think the main thing is just to make sure that this committee knows it was to get the lighting and camera coverage in the parking areas with the canopy not being in place for days.
Right.
Gail, are these temporary, or when the canopy is in place, will they be not necessary, or will they remain?
We're considering it temporary until such time as the canopies are put in place, but they could be permanent if necessary, depending on the timing of the CMLP project.
And do we have a cost for this?
We have set this based upon our estimate as a time and material not to exceed 25,000. And the other part is we are working directly with CMLP, as this is a cost we would be passing on to the CMLP project. So the cost will not be borne by the middle school project.
Okay. Thank you.
It goes through this process, Pat, because it's all going through CTA. So we're issuing all the purchase orders, we're managing all of the costs, but when it comes time, we will be passing the cost on to CMLP.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, and then the other change directive was related to the slab edge, and it was had a value of not to exceed $15,000. So, but just wanted to bring the committee up to speed on some contract changes that we're trying to get ahead of here.
Is that it?
That's it.
That's it, Ian? Any more questions from the committee? Okay, do we have any new business? Okay, I see none. Do we have any comments from the public? I see no hands raised or, okay. Next steps?
Our next meeting will be Thursday, August 15th.
All right, will I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
And
Second.